If the floodwaters rise, if the virus spreads, if the bombs go off, these men are ready. 4 Marines who know how to survive. Joel Stevens,
I was actually there on 9/11. I saw how society broke down very quickly.
Mark Puhali,
In the Marine Corps, we're taught to thrive in chaos and operate in a chaotic environment.
Mike Kozaliski,
I have a lot of ground combat experience. Definitely saw a lot of death. You never have your guard down.
and Jimmy Kimball.
You have to understand being self-reliant or you're in trouble.
Their headquarters, Forge Survival Supply. Come crisis or catastrophe, their technique, improvisation. They know that in an emergency, high tech is high risk. Their mission, using the stuff on hand and a fighting spirit. They teach, then test their clients how to survive. Next,
Surprise! 12 gauge to the face.
a Vietnam vet's home gets a prepping makeover.
Oh, yeah.
And march!
Long Island survivalists seek advice on a potential bug-out location. A young gunsmith gets a lesson in knife
Then
fighting,
you're gonna have your jabs or your strokes.
and a newbie prepper learns basic survival skills.
Jeff, you okay?
Tommy Paterna is a young prepper who knows a lot about guns, but he also knows their limits. He comes to the Forge store for training in other weapons.
I'm currently attending gunsmithing school. We basically learn how to repair, fix, and customize various firearms throughout the country.
You look like a young buck, man. How old are you?
I'm 19 years old. I'm going to gunsmithing school.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That's cool.
Now I'm your biggest fan. Yeah. You've got a skill that's really gonna be sought after. I mean,
Yeah.
especially with where the world's going.
Tommy's in gunsmith school at 19, and like we as survivalists, not to say we're infatuated with guns, but we like guns. I mean, I see your pack. Are you a camper? Or are you a prepper? Or...
I'm a prepper, I'm a camper, I'm an outdoorsman. You know, if something were to happen, I'd be completely ready. I consider myself a prepper because I've always had that mentality of being ready for anything, you know, whether it be a human-made disaster, a natural disaster, or a military disaster.
In a catastrophe, Tommy knows ammunition can run out. That's why he's come to Forge.
What I'm trying to get out of today is how to better protect myself with a knife.
You ever think about what would happen if you don't have a gun? Like somebody comes up.
But, you know, that's something I've been trying to get into. Haven't really learned all that much about it, but really would like to defend myself when I don't have a gun.
Jimmy's first step is to assess Tommy's knives.
I've had this for a hell of a long time.
Do you mind if I see it?
Yeah,
Are you doing it for wedging and prying, or are you using this for truly cutting and slashing?
I've used it to split logs, you know, little logs for a campfire.
Tommy is in good hands. Jimmy is an expert on survival blades.
Yeah, I think the blades are warped.
I mean, well, the reason being is you're using it for the wrong purpose. In the 1940s, when this design came out, this was to kill the bad guy. So this was kill, right? This design, okay, never evolved for anything other than what it was designed for. And it was this motion and this motion on human flesh.
Tommy's first lesson, to understand each knife and what it was designed for.
So if you're using it for wood and things like that, it's going to break down very quickly.
All right.
Okay?
Tommy has a better understanding of his next knife, the kukri.
So what do you use the cookery for?
Basically just trying to cut through brush, small trees, again for cutting through logs.
And that's exactly what it was used for. The original form of the kukri was actually a 6-inch blade with a belly on it. They did it for 3 things. 1, they had a lot of wild boar. 2, they have a hell of a lot of elephant weed there. And then when they had to actually kill something. But it actually has a throwing motion to it. And there is a specific way to throw a kukri, even this size. That's my weapon of choice, is a blade. This is, in the field, probably your most valuable tool.
Oh yeah.
But Tommy's collection of knives is missing Mark's first choice.
It's one of our favorite knives, Harry Blade.
That's the world famous Perry blade. It's a British-made survival knife. As you can see, it's made to hammer, okay? It's made to pry, to get leverage on something. It's made out of true 410 steel. 410 steel is the same steel that they use on pressurized aircraft landing gear. He's got some good tools. He's using them in the wrong way. So now we're gonna show him what blades are applicable for what situations.
Preppers know guns can run out of ammo. This can't happen with a knife.
So unlike the movies, we all don't have an unlimited supply of ammo. We can't go bang, 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 bang indefinitely. And so we're gonna give Tommy some skills to utilize the knives he has and show him some of the knives we like to defend himself.
Okay, so the 5 main slashes, or 5 main attacks, are gonna be the short slashes, 1, 2, 4 and backhand. Long slashes, 1, 2. And then you're gonna have your jabs or your strokes, okay? So that's gonna be really 5 main attacks. You know, you're not always gonna be able to get somebody in the body. Best tool that you can have, quick slashes to the knuckles. Just use your jabs. People see that, they're not gonna know what you're doing, but they don't wanna get their hands cut.
The Forge team believes in a fight, the strength of the knife is as important as that of its owner.
Something that's made out of good steel, getting the right sharpening tools, it's gonna last you a lifetime. You'll expire before this does, all right?
Good knives aren't just weapons, they're tools. In a survival situation, a prepper's knife could be critical to creating shelter.
Okay, so multiple chops. It's gonna wear this blade down. Again, this is for slashing and cutting. So you take this blade though, and you can see the various angles on it. So you use this for your tether cord and things like that, but you know, it's made for chopping. It's made for direct angle strikes. The other thing that's a very important function about a survival knife is the weight and heft of it. In case you have to hammer something. You're building a lean-to, you're taking down these things, you're trimming off the edges. This was created to get leverage on said nail. So, you know, straight up. So you want to find it, find the groove, and get that nail out, wedge it out, okay? Reusable tool. This is 410 steel, pressurized 410 steel. You can pry a metal door open with this. It will not fracture, okay? It's really to pry and dig, pry and dig.
But Jimmy has a little surprise for the young prepper.
And one other thing that I brought for you, something that's not as lethal, but personal street fave. They call it simply the monkey fist. 550 cord, the ball bearing, right in the top. It's cheap, it's non-lethal, but my God, does it hurt. And the more motion you create with it, the harder it's gonna strike. So boom, you hit a guy with this, he's not getting up. It's gonna hurt real bad. 10 bucks. You can feel it. 550 cord of the ball bearing.
Some weight to it. Oh yeah.
And that little ball bearing is the scariest thing in the world, you know? I mean, I'm nervous just standing next to you with it.
And you can just have that right in your pocket.
Exactly, yeah.
Self-defense 101.
Best thing I learned about today is the different kinds of knives out there. And they're just really knowledgeable in the fighting and the self-defense of using a knife.
We taught him a little bit of just about hand-to-hand combat basics, you know, if he ever is attacked or needs to defend himself.
I believe I'd be able to use the skills I learned today out in a survival situation, you know, if need be.
And he's a forward thinker, and definitely a guy I want on my team.
Joel and Mike head out to Colorado Springs to help Steve Hasbrook, a Vietnam vet, NRA instructor, and lifelong prepper.
I'm a guy that's going to bug in. I see no point living in a ditch when I've got a perfectly fine home. And I would say that in some situations we could need some defensive tactics.
His goal is to provide a safe haven for his family and friends in the event of civil unrest.
I feel that I have to take care of my neighbors. I know a lot of these people here. If something happens, I know we're all going to be in the middle of the street trying to figure it out.
He's hired the crew from Ford Survival to help him fortify his home.
You got a busy street.
This is a busy street. That's 500 trailers.
500.
500.
Steve lives on a highly populated intersection and believes his visibility makes his home vulnerable in the event of social collapse. Joel agrees.
The signs I see around this neighborhood that tell me that this place is gonna melt down quick are the unkept yards, the trailer park right next door, the high traffic, the population density. When people around here get desperate, it's gonna get ugly. So what we really need to do is kind of look at your overall security of your home and see how we can help you to bug in.
We can build it with your expertise, having been in the military, and we go from there.
Joel and Mike begin their security survey of Steve's backyard. Although he has a fence, they see his defenses can be improved.
Right, not a lot of space. He's got some stuff to work with.
I do like how his whole yard is fenced in. That's, you know, at least a barrier. keep people out.
Sure, it's high enough that people can't just come right over or see what he's got going on in here, but I think we'll have to probably add a little bit of that as well. Just
They discover a motherlode of equipment in Steve's workshop.
look at this gold mine.
Wow, this is great.
Steve and his well-equipped shop give Mike and Joel plenty of options for fortifying the house.
It's got all these equipment and tools and raw materials. It's got a welder,
You know, Steve's...
generator. This is awesome. Here's his fighting mask.
Oh, yeah, exactly. A lot of stuff to work from.
They now turn to the most vulnerable section of Steve's house, the front, with its large windows and framed wooden door.
I think a big obstacle right here is key.
Right. You know, we were barricading the windows over here. We're barricading this main window. We'll kind of try to channelize everybody to come to the front door to think this is the easiest way in. Steve said he's absolutely not going to bug out. He's going to absolutely stay here and fight to the last dying breath to protect his home and his family. With that being said, we got to try to help him out as best we can.
Although the Hasbrook home is well equipped, the team sees danger at every corner.
This doesn't sound good, dude.
After surveying the home of Vietnam vet Steve Hasbrook, Joel gathers the team in the war room at Ford Survival to come up with a plan to improve Steve's security.
As a family, they want to stay put. They don't want to bug out. Don't agree with that plan, but, you know, kind of walk through what we got here and see what we can do, see what ideas you guys have.
Sure.
To orient you guys to the home, they live on a corner road here.
What about the neighborhood, as far as proximity to neighbors?
Let's just put it this way. You could hit his neighbor's house with a ping pong ball. And they have a large trailer facility, trailer park, over to their west. And it's about 500 trailers that live there.
This doesn't sound good, dude.
Yeah, I don't agree with the plan to bug in, but they're dead set. The plan that I've come up with in my head, and I kind of wanted to flesh it out with you guys, is look to build some type of barriers in front of the windows. Also maybe look at some type of shielding mechanism for the windows in case there's riots out front.
In case?
I know, it's gonna be a riot for sure.
It's just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time. Somehow brace this front door to keep people out.
What
So,
about obstacles past the windows if they do get through?
they have a lot of furniture that they could maybe
Barricade or-
barricade,
okay.
position the furniture in different
Yeah,
locations.
slow people down and
slow
take 'em
people
out.
down. Exactly. My thought was to somehow build some type of fighting position back down this long hallway. More than likely, him and his wife are going to fall back to one of these back bedrooms for security. He was like an auto mechanic / fabricator, so he's great with his hands. Got wood, steel, and laying on the side of the house. I have no doubt that he can improve on what we build and also help us build some stuff. We can leave these guys in a lot better situation than they currently are.
Oh, absolutely.
But before they head out, another customer arrives.
There's always the nuclear apocalypse, there's the, the economic downfall, collapse.
Josh Warby is a 17-year-old prepper from the suburbs.
I consider myself more of a novice, so maybe I could get some advice on what they think I've done.
He has had little real-world experience.
Go ahead and put your bag down and we'll go through it. All right. Yeah, that bag is full.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of people's bug outs bags being all big and bulky, I try to keep mine as small as possible.
Josh was raised on movie and internet versions of the apocalypse.
I've always believed in zombies and stuff, so, I believe that if you're prepared for the zombie apocalypse, then you're prepared for any apocalypse.
But beneath the fantasy are more realistic concerns. Josh uses zombies to mean the specter of any frightening epidemic.
Zombies could mean like anything from like a disease that is spreadable. It could become a pandemic, and that's a huge issue, and I think it's a lot more possible than people think it is.
Although he's young, Josh is serious about getting prepared. He's hired the Forge team to assess his readiness.
Okay. Do I need to turn the lights off in here?
Lights?
There you go, yeah. Cool guys take them off.
All right.
Give me a little bit of background about what brought you about to want to be able to prep.
I have the full belief that the zombie apocalypse is fast approaching.
The internet's a great tool, and it gives kids the ability to use their imagination. It also robs them of the real information they need.
First aid kit.
Very good.
You saw what came standard in this.
Do you mind if I grab the bag?
Of course.
They start with his bug-out bag.
So this is a book bag. So in the brush, this is going to come apart. We're going to show you how to save up to build towards a better gear list, including and starting with the bag.
Josh has his own ideas about the effectiveness of his bug-out bag.
No. I thought about bug-out bags, but I want to be able to go through a door without bumping into everything. So I'm trying just to go by the stay mobile and stay alive.
You're not going to be doing room clearings, man. Okay, we're not in downtown Baghdad. You're in Colorado, right? You have mountains all around you. You're going to be outside. Unless you plan on eating people and becoming a zombie, then you know, you're probably going to look at more mobility as far as better gear, more solid gear.
Yep. Knife number 1.
All right, so your intent is, if you needed to bug out, is to put all this on your body?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a survival blade.
Yep.
That is, ooh.
It's empty and it's not full tang, so
Ooh.
it looks great.
I'm going to retract my last statement, my friend. There's no leverage point here in this blade. This is going to break on you. You don't have anything counterbalancing this blade in the base of your knife.
What else you got here?
The deeper they dig into the bag, the stranger the gear.
All right. Now, here's a little thing, right?
Don't preface it, man. Just pull it out of the bag. Is that a knee brace?
Yes. But it can also be an arm. Put any attachment on it. Anything from knives to flashlights to...
I love talking to younger dudes.
In Josh's mind, the arm will bristle with deadly weaponry one day.
Just look how cool it is. Well, it's a robot arm. If you start running at some guy with this on, flying around with all this crazy stuff on it, he's not gonna stay. He's gonna drop his stuff and book it.
I'm not gonna give a I'm gonna kill you.
I would shove that directly up your.
Mike and Jimmy appreciate Josh's enthusiasm, but think he'll benefit from being knocked down a notch or two.
I don't want to limit your creativity, but we're just trying to give you the reality and sanity check to it. It's good you're thinking outside the box. That's absolutely awesome. But I wouldn't bet my survival on a cool factor.
You know, it seemed like they were cutting me down a lot, but, you know, I am a real novice now that I realize that. And they are super experts, so, you know, I guess they knew what they were talking about.
And I'll tell you, if the zombie apocalypse really happens, it's like you've seen, you may have heard before.
What in the Sam hell?
Another surprise.
I saw the orange tip and I had to interrupt you.
No, hold on a second. I'm not in any way able to have a pistol.
Because Josh is too young to buy a firearm, his arsenal consists of a toy gun.
Why not try to bluff my way through a million different situations?
I see what you're saying, and again, I'm commending you for being 17 and thinking that way.
Using a toy gun in a dangerous situation could get Josh killed.
So if it turns into the Wild Wild West, you lost.
You know, you're thinking, and that's great. I would much rather pull you back than have to kick you in the ass.
To give Josh a reality check, the Forge team will take him to a live firing range.
Okay, my man, this is what you came for.
The Forge team has assessed young Josh Warby's bug-out gear, as well as his skills as a prepper.
I love the fact that he thinks out of the box. He's a creative kid. You know, he's using his imagination. He's going to need that. It's going to serve him well. Just a little bit more of understanding about the realities of what's going to happen.
It's time to take Josh to the range. Considering their assessment of his gear, Mike and Jimmy don't have high hopes for Josh's marksmanship.
Now we're going to show him what it's really like to use a weapon and how to really use it. This is the AR-15. Better known as the M4 knockdown version of the M16. Okay, now this is back. So I'm gonna pull off a couple rounds and show you how it's done, okay?
To be able to interact with young people, it's fantastic because we know people took the time to teach us when we were younger. We want to be able to pass some of that along.
Let me take it from you.
Josh has little experience with guns, so he needs basic instruction.
Now, here is a full mag. You want to hold your weapon, slap it in there, just to rack around, making one into the chamber.
What is most important is safety. If you did have to get into a combat situation, you want to have complete control of the weapon.
Okay, this will replicate the zombie apocalypse when you explode heads. Okay? So, go ahead and pull it, rack around.
There you go.
To acquire the target, you're going to look through this sight. You want everything to be blurry on the other end. Okay, my man, this is what you came for. Fire. Boom! First shot, got him.
Great shot.
There you go, my man.
All right. Beginner's luck?
Nah, it's just skill.
Hey, broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, that's right.
I realized that I actually hit it, and, you know, I wasn't actually expecting to, so that was awesome.
Mike has Josh fire off some more rounds in the hope that the first shot was a fluke.
My first thought after he nails the first shot is the absolute worst thing that could have happened for us. So now he may walk away thinking, screw those guys, I'm the man. So that's why we really tried to instill the fact that, you know, broken clock is right twice a day. He needs to be in a learning mindset at all times. No more than 3-round bursts.
All right, ceasefire.
Hey, look at that. Good shoot.
Oh.
Josh's first shot wasn't beginner's luck. To Mike and Jimmy's surprise, Josh is a natural sharpshooter.
It was a new experience and it was totally awesome.
He's gonna go back to tweet, email, Facebook to his friends about that he's the man. But inside, I think we might have reached him a little bit to say, look, you know, this is a real thing. You're actually planning or thinking you're planning to want to shoot at zombies, which is really people. It's another ballgame.
Despite his perfect aim, Josh knows he still has a lot to learn.
I'm gonna do what they said. I'm gonna try to upgrade my gear, get some better stuff, you know, and maybe get some more practical stuff.
You did a great job today. Awesome?
Yeah.
Cool, dude. Nice shooting. All right. Let's go drink beers, except you.
The Forge team is returning to work with Steve Hasbrook. Their goal is to help him make his home secure. Steve, a Vietnam vet, believes that it won't be long before the social order collapses. Now it's time to prepare for an unwelcome intruder.
Ultimately, when we're done, we've got this little beauty waiting for whoever's coming over that fence uninvited. And it's made real simple. A couple of nails, a little bit of board, not very expensive and very effective.
I would hate to think of somebody jumping the fence and doing that, but
Well, you got to protect your family, your property,
That's
and you
right.
do what it takes.
prepare for everything.
Mark's prepping experience gives him surprising ideas, such as concealing barbed wire.
So rather than coil it all around your fence, we're just gonna put some wire right below the inside edge. So if you reach over to jump over that wall, I'm in a world of hurt. I just sliced the heck out of my hand. Steve, will you grab that? I don't have gloves on.
grab that
We're gonna
thing, go.
fix that right up there in that corner.
We're gonna coil it just
And
a
I'm
little
gonna
bit.
go
There you go.
Concealing the barbed wire also adds to the element of surprise.
just underneath there.
They'll have no idea it's here.
Should be safe. Like I
Can you
said, if
imagine?
someone tries to climb over this, they're into the wire. And how many people are gonna really be prepared for that? And then there's spike boards on there. That's definitely gonna slow someone down.
Joel has a final trick up his sleeve, a defense inspired by something from Steve's days in Vietnam. The defense of Steve Hasbrook's backyard is completed with the addition of a primitive but effective weapon, sharpened bamboo sticks.
See, the idea here is that we use these bamboo stakes. Most people, when they jump over a fence, they usually clear the fence by a little bit. What we're trying to do is make people jump your fence and fall right down here and land right on the nails.
Right on the nails.
And that's where we want them.
Then they're incapacitated.
Another thing you can do, Steve, you get out here, you see someone's coming over, you don't have your weapon, you just grab one of these, weapons of opportunity.
The four of us did this in about 3 minutes. You pull this down, and when the time is right, you know where to put everything up.
The Forge team's strategy is to use low-tech solutions to solve Steve's security needs.
The stuff that we used with Steve is commonly found at your house, local hardware store. It's not very expensive, and it can be very effective.
Now that the backyard is secure, the Forge team turns to the front of Steve's house. To fortify the weakest link in his defense, they use barricades.
As we discussed with our team, we're really worried about your front windows. If hits the fan situation, people are going to be trying to crawl through those windows, break them. So one of the things that we came up with was some temporary barricades that we could kind of secure to your house to try to keep people away from your front window. So what we do here is we just took a simple board, drilled some holes. Again, we utilize a bamboo with some sharp edges, and we're going to punch these through here and build like a little mini barricade.
Interesting.
In addition to providing defense, the barricades are highly portable.
Flip it over.
There you go.
This is something that you can store in your shed, your garage, and in just a couple minutes have this assembled with your bamboo in the back along your fence, you have fortification.
They place these in front of the windows, a weak point in any building's perimeter, but especially so in Steve's. They add barbed wire and fasten the barricades to the ground to prevent easy removal.
You want to anchor these so someone couldn't throw something, a grappling hook, or pull it away.
It's gonna make someone think twice about trying to get to this bay window.
And with any defensive position, you're always continuously improving it. You find better ways to improve what you've already got going.
That's right, that's right.
Next, the crew makes a customized window shield.
No, get your hand out of there.
I know what I'm doing.
All right, perfect.
And now we're gonna hinge this to the top of the window.
Sweet.
Let's lift.
All right, coming down.
Alrighty.
Now, Steve, go grab that shotgun, because now you got a storm window with gun ports on it.
He can't get that gun fast enough.
With gun ports, Steve can safely fire his weapon from inside the house. They also create an intimidating sight for any attacker.
Good field of view.
Good vantage.
Yep.
In the event that an attacker gets through the door, the team has a strategy for Steve: fighting positions inside his home.
If you don't stop him at the door and you need to fall back, get another gun, get some more ammo, and get behind your barricade, and you're right here, and hey, surprise, 12 gauge to the face. Right now, it just looks like a piece of plywood. We're gonna reinforce it, we're gonna harden it. In a close quarters battle environment, the last thing an assaulter wants to see is some type of hardened position.
That's urban assault.
Yes,
Urban assault
exactly.
at its best.
We've secured a lot of your house around the perimeter, but one thing we haven't talked about yet was the front door.
Before the team leaves, they present Steve with a very unwelcoming welcome mat.
Solid screws going right in your foot.
It's scary.
They get past that, Joel's got one more little surprise.
Joel has a final greeting for any would-be invader.
We're gonna get medieval in their asses.
Awesome. I'm starting to feel sorry for the perpetrators. What we had to do today is bittersweet. Why should we have to do this in this country? But better be safe than sorry.
You look at that place, it's no longer a corner house. It is a fortress. It's Steve's Alamo, and I don't want to go mess with that.
Satisfied with the transformation of Steve's home, Joel sends Mike and Mark off to an East Coast assignment. The Long Island Tactical Preppers, led by Tommy DeLallo and Dr. James Strickland, are preparing for a wide range of emergencies. They've hired Mike and Mark to advise them on assessing a temporary bug-out location. The team's first stop is with Prepper Security Leader, Tommy DeLallo.
Set it up. Low ready. Arch.
A lot of people look at prepping as something like a nut job. I'm not a nut job whatsoever. I'm an intelligent individual.
What does your wife say about that?
She thinks I'm a nut job. But besides that, I'm a prepper not just for a total global disaster. I start with all emergency preparedness. Floods, blackouts, hurricanes, which obviously were on the eastern seaboard. Doing it for a long time.
How
long? Since probably around 98, I started.
Really?
Former United States Marine, so it always has that mindset of preparing before it gets worse.
What's your worst nightmare?
I think, as with anybody else, would be a nuclear war or some type of dirty bomb going off. God forbid there was a real emergency, how are you going to get through it? Everybody wants off that island. If it is not a nuclear event, I'm going to be staying on Long Island.
Okay, so you're going to bug in.
Yeah, I'm bugging in on the island. And there's a lot of resources here. I don't plan on leaving if I have to, but that doesn't mean I stay in my apartment. You should have secondaries and all that other type of stuff. Those routes need to be planned. Prepping is not food, water, and shelter. It's beyond that. You should be practicing prepping, weapons, martial arts, fitness.
The team meets Dr. James Strickland, a psychologist and founder of the Long Island Tactical Preppers.
How can we help you? Show us how we can have some sustainability at our initial rally point.
So I would be relying on your knowledge and your team building expertise to help my team be more successful.
Dr. Strickland, when and how did you start thinking about preparedness?
Well, I had a number of clients who started talking to me about prepping and their concerns.
What type of concerns?
We're an island. We only have a couple of bridges and a tunnel. And if anybody lives on Long Island knows it's difficult enough just in regular traffic, let alone some type of man-made disaster or natural disaster.
From what I know from human behavior, in times of stress and duress and under perceived authority, people will hurt you. They will take from you what they want.
Assuming evacuation off the island would be impossible, Dr. Strickland took action.
I formed a team. We have about 20 to 30 members. From that group, there's anywhere from 80 to 120 possible in terms of gathering their family members and bringing them.
When was it started and why?
The group was started about 6-7 months ago.
Are you going to bug in or bug out?
Well, my initial plan is to bug out with members of our group.
He has carefully put together his group. Every member has a special skill to contribute.
So what kind of skill sets come with this group?
We have a wide range of skill sets. I'm a psychologist, we have a cardiac surgeon, we have lawyers, electricians, auto mechanics.
We have some military people, and they're training us to form and mobilize. We've gone through a boot camp that mimics Navy SEAL, Marine Force Recon.
Pick it up, people, pick it up. You're receiving fire. 8, 9, 10, heads up.
Tommy takes all the training that we do and he coordinates it into one program, boot camp.
He is a former Marine, has experienced combat.
Left face.
He has faced death as a combat soldier.
My real rifle.
He's been there, I haven't. What our team can benefit from your team is, for our initial rally point, is the structure sound and is the building defensible? Can it house the number of people that we've mentioned, or even more? What would be the max capacity? We want to make sure that the members who come can rely on us and that we can deliver.
At Strickland's rally point, the team sees danger ahead.
I think security is going to be huge.
When Mike and Mark arrive at Strickland's bug-out location, they see it presents a number of complicated challenges. The Forge team has been hired to give them advice on making this location secure and sustainable for up to 120 people.
We wear vests such as this and hard hats for protection because we don't know what we're going to encounter, but it also lets us hide in plain sight.
The building's sheer size presents opportunities as well as challenges.
This is a lot of real estate.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how defendable it is, because you're going to definitely need at least dozens of people just to defend it.
The team's next task is finding a way inside the structure.
All right, let's see if there's an entry point somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
Impressed by the exterior, Mark and Mike understand that it's the interior that'll determine whether this is a viable bug-out location.
So this is the door I came in, and this actually gives you access to the whole facility.
You could definitely house
100 plus.
your folks in here. I think security is going to be huge.
The link-up plan doesn't happen or someone gets cut off from being able to make it here. You got to be able to scale it small, because you're not going to have the manpower for the rotation. How many weapons do you have? How much ammunition do you have? If everyone starts blowing off ammunition, defending the whole place, and you need a small amount, it's going to be a problem.
Right.
If you can get early warning stuff, trip flares, motion detectors.
So as far as securing a facility like this, what do you guys recommend?
First, you got to look at the scope of it. It looks like a very solid building.
Yes, and just look around the structure itself. Everything's basically steel beamed or tiled brick. This place can definitely be habitable, I think. What do you think?
I think so. Again, we're looking at just one room. We start expanding out to see whether either equipment you can find or things that you can make use of. Then you start identifying where your hygiene room is, where you're going to be able to store your water, where you're going to spread your ammo, etc. I think this gives you a lot to work with.
This place is enormous and solid. You're buttoned up in here good already. just from it being barricaded. You could easily make gun ports, observation areas.
Use of the catwalks.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark and Mike believe that this location does have potential.
This is a great starting point for the first thing we've seen. It's looking very good. I know you're only planning to be here a short time, but with these open fields, if you think this ultimately could be a long-term solution, you've got some room to work out here with setting up gardens, etc. It still gives you some cover and concealment, but it gives you a chance to get people outside that whole mental aspect of getting to see some sunlight, not staying in this cold, dark place.
I think this is a great potential spot for a bug out location. It's a very stable, secure building.
The one issue I see is morale. My concern is, while we can fix it up, that I don't think, in my opinion, it's truly a long-term solution.
But the Forge team disagrees. They have a different perspective.
We're looking at it as Marines. Hey, that's great living. We've all lived in a lot worse places.
With a broom and a dustpan, and maybe some Mr. Clean, you could make it home for a while if need be.
At least one of the Long Island preppers agrees.
We scored when we walked into this building. We saw a structurally sound building. You really can't ask for more.
With their initial rally point decided, planning for the group's bug-in can begin.
When you're creating any type of group that deals with security, that deals with the safety of others, we want to make sure that people have the ability to handle stress and multiple variations of altercations.
Keep going, people!
Boot camp tested everybody. We brought everybody to the brink. And I was amazed at the cohesion and the camaraderie. We are all so much closer now as a result of boot camp, both physically and mentally.
So how important do you think cardio fitness is right now?
Good point, Chief. This was meant to show people what they may encounter should this actually occur.
It's the point of overcoming these obstacles. Never giving up when we feel tired or stressed. Do you understand that?
Mike offers a suggestion for preparing Strickland's team.
I think this being a choice for them as an initial temporary bug out location is a great start. Then I would start bringing every member who potentially could come into this scenario to look and see, hey, this is where we're going. Mentally start preparing yourself.
A week later in Colorado, another customer, Jeff Starnes, arrives. Jeff's been using the internet to teach himself prepping. He's come to the Forge team for a consultation about primitive survival skills. He wants to be self-reliant if everything breaks down.
Instead of just relying on the equipment that I have, I'm interested in learning primitive survival and self-reliance.
So are you a camper or are you interested in more preparation things?
I'm just newly getting into being a prepper.
Are you afraid of something happening?
I would like to be ready if something did happen. I want to be able to survive.
Jeff learned everything he knows about prepping on the internet, so he's got some unusual gear.
First pouch here is, I keep some rat traps.
My God, look at this. You can chop a deer with this.
You want me to touch that?
How quick are you?
Okay.
No, hey, it works. That's good. It's something different.
Jeff plans on bringing his dog, a potentially fatal mistake.
So you had planned for your dog to go with you?
Yeah.
Is that good?
The last time I did it, we ran out of water because that dog drinks so much water.
He gave all his water to the dog, which is a deadly mistake. Who's more important to get water in that situation?
My dog.
Your dog's gonna take care of you.
Your dog's gonna be eating out of your chest as a bowl if you think like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. In a survival situation, you need to drink the water before the dog.
Yeah, definitely.
YouTube videos got him a long way. I don't think he thought about the practical application that he really needs in the field with it, or how long his gear is gonna hold up, but you know, we're gonna make it happen for him.
It's not just Jeff's gear that will be tested in the field.
Jeff, you okay?
Mike and Jimmy have seen increasing numbers of internet preppers like Jeff. Jeff has almost no first-hand knowledge of survival basics like starting a fire and finding shelter.
It starts out as people camping versus prepping. People don't think about the drastic aspect of actually what they have to go through or what they're gonna push to.
But to advance his knowledge as a prepper, Jeff will learn basic camping skills too.
What's most important is to get what they call a little bird's nest. a bunch of small, tender stuff that's dry, that once you get these embers hot or get them smoldering, so it can start to grow. Right there. You want to try yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then hit it with the spark.
Come on, baby.
Jeff is having trouble with the flint. Mike shows him an even simpler method. Like many survival basics, the Forge team knows low tech is always better.
So, magnifying glass. Obviously, you have to have sun. If it's a snowstorm, it's not going to work, or if it's raining.
It's on. It's on.
Now fan it.
There you go.
There you go. Now,
Wow.
All right.
It's going crazy now.
So, what is this?
Steel wool.
Steel wool. And what's this?
9-volt battery.
Hold the battery like this. Touch it. That's another way to get some sparks to start a fire.
now you have to breathe on it, Jeff.
There you go.
Now
See
remove
it?
the battery. Blow, blow,
There you go.
blow. Now you're gonna have a quick tinder pile.
Whoa.
See how easy that was?
Nice.
So as you see, it doesn't take much. You start a fire real quick, gets hot real quick.
Yep.
And look, man, now you're cooking, you're warm, you're drying out your clothes, you're purifying water if you need to.
So is this really the first thing I'd want to do is get fire?
Well, I'll tell you what situation you're going to be in at some point in the future, but you got to know the key pieces, which you're learning. Dry, warm, fire, shelter, water, food, and always, always security.
Now, a shelter in the wilderness.
This is a nice position here where we can lean sticks up against this fairly easily, level the ground out easily, put some pine needles down, and start grabbing branches.
Okay.
Get about 8 or so, 4 to 6 feet in length.
Okay. And
How about this thing?
there you go. Cut it down. Let me show you another tool you can use. This is as simple as a chainsaw blade that helps reduce the amount of work and effort you're going to have to do to cut a clean edge on a piece of wood. You can use a hatchet, but it's going to take a lot more effort and use a lot more of your energy that you're trying to save. So what you do is you put it just like this, and you go back and forth.
The team ensures that the lean-to's poles are tied down for stability and covered with a tarp for protection against the elements.
Keep them coming.
When Jeff showed up, he actually really wanted to learn some primitive skills. Getting him out of the office setting and out in the field was fantastic.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. You all right?
Jeff, you okay?
Yeah, doing good.
He's giving it all he's got.
You all right? Is Mike tripping you over there?
He tried to kill me.
The old message, slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Now, we did this in about, what, 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
But we had 8 hands working it, okay? So remember, you're gonna do this on your own, slow, deliberate. You don't want to expend tons of energy.
You're gonna build whatever you have to block the wind in your entrance here.
Okay.
Now that Jeff has heat and shelter, Jimmy gives him tips on hunting for his next meal.
Animals aren't stupid. They can smell the oil on your hands on these, right? So you're gonna wanna use your gloves. If you're trying to do a head snare,
You wanna make sure it's well anchored. This is a root, okay? No animal, except a really strong animal, is pulling this out.
if this snare was bound up here, let's say, the more that that animal struggles against this branch, it's tightening the noose on its neck.
Yep.
So now it's thrashing and it's working and it's working. It's asphyxiating itself. If you hear an animal screaming, you might have to get your hands dirty.
If that anchor breaks off, that thing just left, and your next meal or two just hauled ass.
With my snare.
With your snare that you can't get back.
Animals can also see very, very well, so you want to hide them.
Very simple Mother Nature's camouflage, okay? Hiding the whole snare, okay? You have food in the middle of the snare here.
And that animal catches this thing, foot snare. Trying to run away. It's got this spike in it, it's cutting itself. Okay, you see the scratches on my arm. So now it's cut, it's wounded, and it's
it's locked into place.
Something you may do is on your next trip when you're out in the field, you take a little bit of food, but knowing you have to capture something. The rat trap, the snare, if you get a weapon and you can take down a squirrel or a bird and you eat that. Okay. Just to prove to yourself you can do it.
Hands down, Jeff's working towards being fully prepared, but he's on the right track.
I have actually a lot more confidence now going back out that I actually really do have a chance.
There are many high-tech solutions for preppers. But if it all goes down, it's the basics that matter.